as
we will.
next couple of hours roll on, because the ACC has been gathering the votes over the last couple of days. They will announce on Monday, day after tomorrow, who the player of the year is, the rookie of the year, the coach of the year, and on, including potentially some of the players we have here tonight. Pittsburgh with the basketball first. Leggett hands it off to Brandin Cummings, the freshman who gets the start here in this regular season finale. Zach Austin with it between the rings. Pittsburgh coming off a loss at NC State on Wednesday, their 4th in a row. Cam Corhen off the nice delivery from Cummings.
Doug, every game that Cummings has started, he's played well. And great start for him, getting the start here on senior night and playing with Lowe and Leggett on the floor just eases his responsibility to be something fun to keep an eye on him and see how started tonight translates for him.
Jaden Hastings getting the start again tonight. Big collision underneath, and he's going to be called for the offensive foul. And so for the redshirt freshman from Orlando in his 5th start of the year, he's played very well in their starts, including Wednesday against Clemson when they lost to the 11th ranked Tigers. But he has continued to evolve and show promise.
You see his growth. He's really growing on the offensive end of the floor. He's always been really good at shot blocking, and on the defensive end of the floor, moving his feet.
Inside they go to Corhen, spins to the baseline. Hastings knocked it away. Corhen with a second chance, and he'll head to the free throw line to shoot a pair.
Hastings did a really good job the first time in blocking the shot. One of the guards has to come in and get that loose ball.
And so just like that, just over a minute into the game, we get the answer we expected, asking Boston College head coach Earl Grant earlier today, will we see Chad Venning in tonight's game? Didn't play on Wednesday against Clemson because of a recurring right foot issue, but because of the immediate foul trouble by Hastings, we do see the big fella coming in for Earl Grant, who's winding down his 4th year.
Now let's see if Venning's ready to play heavy minutes. He's easing his way back in it with the foot trouble. With Hastings picking up 2 quick fouls inside of a minute here.
Elijah Strong missed from in the lane. Here comes Pittsburgh. And a matchup of Houston point guards here. Lowe being guarded by Chaz Kelly. Kelly's out of Cy Creek High School, while Lowe, who actually lists Missouri City, Texas as his hometown, started Fort Bend Marshall. And we've got our foul that'll give it back over to BC. And Jeff Capel III in his 7th year has his team at 16-14 overall, a season that has gone sideways the last couple of months. They were ranked in the top 20 back when December became January, and since that time they are in the midst, Randolph, of their 3rd 4-game losing streak.
They have dropped 12 of their last 16, and they're searching for answers while you see Cummings inserted in the starting lineup, hoping to make their offense a little bit more dynamic.
On the putback, Deion Brown, the junior from Great Barrington, Massachusetts, has his home state school on the board.
And that's been an issue all year long. It's been a surprise under Coach Cable. They've been a really good rebounding team. This year, they have struggled mightily to control the glass. And they're going to have to rebound because the guards of Boston College do go to the offensive glass, as you saw there. And there's a big backcourt. There's a size and height advantage for the BC guards.
Leggett off the mark, and then the Pittsburgh guards have actually rebounded the ball extremely well. Their point guard Lowe averages over 4 per game. Leggett, their 6'3" shooting guard, averages nearly 6 per game. So the guards have done their part.
They have, just not much from the front line, the Panthers.
Venning off the window for 2. Former St. Bonaventure star who came to BC for his final year of eligibility ties the score at 4.
Venning can score. You got to know he wants to get to that left shoulder. So he takes you middle, you cut him off, he spins back, gets to that left shoulder. Cam is going to have to be conscious of that.
Corhen with a backdoor pass, and we've got a foul as Leggett took a bump from Deion Brown, picks up the personal.
It's a great job there of driving, getting the contact, and you don't box out. Brown's the beneficiary of that, and here's Chad Venning taking you middle. Great job of cutting him off, but then he dropped steps with his footwork. gets the angle and finishes off the glass.
Out of Bishop Laughlin High School in Brooklyn. Brown with a block shot. Second effort for Pitt by Cummings is no good. Out of bounds. It'll stay at this end.
You got to be okay with that. If you're Earl Grant, you don't want to throw the ball underneath your basket, so you're okay with just going out of bounds. At least you can set your defense.
Well, one thing Earl Grant does when he comes into every road arena for shoot-around on game day, checks the rims. He wants to see if the paint has been chipped. Corhen right to the rim. He's got 6 early points for Pittsburgh. And Earl says he likes it when he sees the paint chipped. It gives him a better target to shoot for. Never heard that before, but that's one of his things. I've seen him do it multiple times, including this morning here at the Pitt.
Well, that's because he's a non-shooter, so a defensive guy would say something like that. I expect that for a coach that spends 25 minutes a game in a defensive stance.
Well, our first block shot of the night comes from the ACC's leader in that category, number 55, outgoing senior Zach Austin.
Surprise, surprise. You got to know he's coming when you drive. No one better, and since we're talking about votes and my votes, that's my defensive player of the year in the ACC because I love his versatility on that end of the floor.
Well, he is the first player in college basketball history, and there he goes skying for the rebound. He's the first guy ever with 3 consecutive seasons with at least 50 made threes and 50 block shots.
Look at the list that he's on. Is incredible to see that. And
I mean, if you break down his 3-and-D ability, you can't help but to wonder, does he have a chance?
Yes.
Will he get himself into the NBA at some point?
Just saying it right now. Yes.
Yeah, and I've been saying it all season long that he profiles for what exactly NBA teams and scouts are looking for.
One, because he knows what he is. He knows his strength is on the defensive end of the floor. And his improved jump shot will help him get an opportunity. But his defense and his athleticism is what you're looking for, and his versatility on that end of the floor, being able to guard the ball, protect the rim, guard pretty much anyone on the floor.
Venting out to Strong, lining up the 3, a little Strong. There's another rebound for Austin. Now he's also one of 3 all-time with over 1,300 points, 700 rebounds, 200 block shots, and 200 made threes. The others are Shane Battier, we've heard of him, and Jake Stevens, who was great at VMI in Chattanooga and is playing professionally. So again, these lists that Zach Austin has himself on in multiple categories are really eye-opening.
It is. That ACC list is just star after star.
Yeah.
Guys that are on that team.
Well, the last couple of years, guys with 50-50, 50 made threes and 50 block shots. Last year, the 2 guys who did it, along with him, are in the NBA right now. P.J. Hall with the Denver Nuggets out of Clemson, and Quentin Post out of Boston.
There's better defenders in certain spaces, maybe a rim protector, even though he's leading the league in the ACC, which shows you his ability to come help weak side. I think his ability to guard the basketball as well as be a really good help side defender is why I think he's the best defender all around in this league.
Yeah, and Jeff Capel, his coach, says he is the best athlete he has coached during his 7 years here at Pittsburgh. A couple of missed free throws from Donald Hand Jr., averaging 16 points per game. He's the 4th best by percentage free throw shooter in the conference, and yet he goes 0 for 2.
Yeah, that's surprising for him. He's usually automatic from behind the free throw line. But there's a lid right now on the basket. Both teams are struggling from behind the three-point line. We hadn't had one made yet. Let's see if Guillermo can help us out.
Guillermo Diaz-Graham, no. Austin keeps it alive to himself. Another rebound for number 55 in white. His 3rd in the early going. It extends the possession, and the Panthers cash in thanks to Ishmael Leggett. First made 3 by either side so far tonight. And I can't believe we've gotten 6 minutes into the game and we haven't mentioned PG County or DC yet out of Ishmael Leggett. Here he comes again.
I was saving it.
Out of St. John's College High School. Cummings. Great ball movement. Back-to-back threes on that end. Lowe gets the assist, and Pitt is humming.
This is what you expected to see from Jeff Capel. The Pitt Panthers, when he started this 3 small guard lineup here, ball movement, dribble penetration, spreading the forward, and ability to knock down threes.
An 8-0 run can be extended here off the miss by Hand. No look pass to the corner. Cummings, great shot fake. gets himself free, and he's fouled by Hand.
When you're struggling to score from behind the three-point line, the first time you get an offensive rebound, and you're not going to get more open looks than Ishmael Leggett get there for that corner three ball. Here, just another ball reversal. Cummings, no hesitation, steps into it, nothing but net. Pitt starting to heat up from behind the three-point line.
And so our officials for our ball game tonight, Eric Lewis, Sean Hall, and Michael Kitts. That is Mike Kitts Jr., whose father, longtime college basketball official, 4 times to the Final Four. And they are looking to see if that's a 3 for Cummings or if that right foot maybe touched the line.
Yeah, I think it does. What?
Is that
it
definitive?
Is on an angle. No, it's on an angle. You can't tell from there for sure. 3 shots, yeah.
No argument from Coach Capel. And so Cummings now at the line, shooting 3. Now he has had a encouraging freshman season. If you're a Pittsburgh Panthers fan, you know you're at that time of the year, actually any time of the year.
Yeah.
You're trying to retain talent.
Yes.
And can you keep him and allow for him to build on what he has done, at least shown in stretches for Pitt this year?
Well, the culture is right now we're in it, everything's year to year, but he's definitely shown you enough. And you would definitely want to have him back and continue to build this program to take another step next year of getting into the NCAA tournament. And when he started both games, as I said, he's played really well, and he's off to another good start here, being his 3rd game of the season.
Yeah, he's got double digits in scoring 3 of his last 4 games and already has 6 in the early going tonight. It's a 15-4 lead. You see the 11-0 run. Meanwhile, Earl Grant going deep into his bench to try and find a combination. Luka Taves has come into the game. He's high on him as a point guard. Here comes Leggett. Picked up by Taves.
Taves, he thinks is his best pure point guard, but he's a freshman. He's got his hands full with any of these guards for Pitt Panthers.
Well, I remember Luka Taves' older brother Kai, who started at UNCW. He played for Team Japan in the 2024 Olympics. His younger brother winding down his freshman season at Boston College. And you know, for BC, this is it. They will not be going to Charlotte for the ACC tournament because they're one of the 3 teams that didn't qualify. Only the top 15 in this new expanded era of the ACC get to go to the league tournament. So while Pittsburgh will fly to Charlotte tomorrow, Diaz-Graham has his layup roll off the rim. BC will put the balls away until next year.
Still something to get used to now. It's hard to accept that. You just assume that everyone is going to the ACC tournament, and BC will not be a part of it.
How about the step through for Jaden Hastings, back on the floor playing with those 2 early fouls. And he's coming off a brilliant performance in the loss to Clemson, a perfect 8 for 8.
He's becoming more and more confident on the offensive end of the floor.
Leggett steps into a 3 and buries it.
Jeff Capel's on to something now with this guard play. All 3 of his guards are getting to their spots, spacing the floor offensively. They're knocking down shots.
Well, he was last year's 6th man of the year in the ACC, and he has had so much more asked of him this year for Pittsburgh. How do you think Leggett has handled the added responsibility and the added attention? We'll talk about that.
Up early has paid dividends for Coach Capel.
And so I circle back to what I was asking you before the break. How has Leggett handled the different role from being an elite reserve last year to being at the top of the opponent's scouting report every night?
Well, I think he's done well. You can see even in his shooting percentage, he's still shooting in the mid-40s from behind the 3-point line. I think overall it hurts the team. You know, every team, you're really good when you got an Ishmael Leggett coming in off the bench.
Brown lays it in. BC back within 10.
But he's done exceptionally well. I think he's a 2-way player. What he brings to you from a leadership and a defense.
Lowe dumps it off, and Corhen's hot start continues. His dunk gives him 8 early points. Zach Austin slow to get up underneath the basket, and Jaland Lowe also bent over at the waist.
Well, Cam Corhen dunked on his teammates there. Jaland Lowe dropped the dime off to him, and those two guys collide. And let's hope that both of these guys are okay.
Need a traffic cop underneath that basket. Looks like both guys are okay.
A little friendly fire there.
Yeah.
I think Jaland Lowe is saying, I got hit on a pass. Zach Austin was crashing the offensive glass, but no need. Cam Corhen with the flush.
So Austin takes a seat. We get our first look at Ishmael Leggett, the 6'8" freshman from Bosnia and Herzegovina. He defends Beadle with the basketball right now.
Leggett has been really good when he's coming to the game. Really aggressive, not only in making shots, but just making plays on the offensive end of the floor.
Beadle. One and done for Boston College. I know you had Pittsburgh on Wednesday, and you repeatedly talked about the fact that as a coach's kid, Ishmael Leggett does things the right way.
Yes, he does. So he lets the game come to him. He's aggressive when he comes on the floor. Has a really good IQ at both ends of the floor. He knows his limitations athletically, but he's really good on the offensive end of the floor for a freshman. He doesn't take bad shots.
And there you see the big game against Miami. His career high 14 points. And then 9, the game we're talking about the other day. You see he is still not evolved into a full-time role as you go from 28 and 25 minutes down to 3 minutes, but it's coming.
He's improving, and I think he's earned the trust. What he's earned is the opportunity to get in games early. You can tell this late in the year, coaches are starting to play guys that they trust that have earned it. And you got to make your coach play you. Legett's improvement has done that for Coach Capel.
Yeah, and his father, as you've talked about, his name is Amir. He played 20-plus years of professional basketball overseas, now a coach in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Well, you were a coach for a number of years at your alma mater at Wake Forest as an assistant under Danny Manning. Did you guys, when you were recruiting, look at a coach's son differently? Did you value that more potentially?
You would talk about it because you know they've grown up around the game and they've seen things, and there's an understanding that comes a lot of time with something like that, and you can see that in their play. You saw me earlier talking to Jason Capel's son, who's a part of it, and always going out in the court watching with him. The access that you have behind the scenes with kids like that, the kids are at practice. They get to see the good, the bad, the ugly. They hear the positive things that you speak of. And a lot of times they implement those things as an early age.
Right. Jeff Capel and his younger brother Jason grew up around basketball because their father, Jeffrey Capel II, was a high-level coach, was the head coach at Old Dominion, and so it has been passed on from one generation to the next. And like you said, Jason, one of his 3 sons, loves the game of basketball and is out here every opportunity pregame at the Pitt, working on things when Coach Childress gets out there and helps him with some pointers.
I'm a fan of how hard he works. He's always working. Funny story, he traveled to Louisville with Pitt the other day and told his dad he wanted to go to Louisville right now. So Jason had to laugh at that. He loved the atmosphere at Louisville when they played at the Yum Center.
And when you and I were here a couple of weeks ago, maybe for the Syracuse game,
yes,
Jason's son, you could tell, got to the arena a little later than he wanted to. It wasn't his fault because he can't drive yet. And he didn't get the work in that he wanted to. Corhen's into double figures. Pittsburgh back up by a dozen.
You got to guard Cam Corhen. He's not a shooter, but he's a really good passer, and he can put it on the floor and drive and attack the rim. You got to account for him, and he's emerged as the 3rd leading scorer for the Panthers.
Cameron Murphy Corhen comes away with the shot, hands it off to Lowe, and here come the Panthers. Cummings thought about it. Leggett back out around the perimeter, under 9 minutes to go first half.
It's a different look with Cam Corhen playing a 5. His ability to drive and the basketball and also screen and roll and catch it in that pocket pass, kick it to the weak side is presenting problems for Boston College.
How about Cam Corhen now? A perfect 4 for 4. And over the last 5 games, including this one, Randolph, he is 25 for 32. It's pretty good.
It is. I don't think he's had a shot outside of 3 feet here tonight. So that's a pretty high percentage shot there.
BC goes inside to try and take advantage of its size. Chad Venning at 6'9", 270, a complete mismatch physically with Guillermo Diaz-Graham, but he gets called for the foul.
It's a big foul here because, again, Hastings is on the bench with 2 already, and you can see the hook. There's no need for him to do that. He has a distinct size advantage over Guillermo Diaz-Graham in the post. He's trying to beat the double team, so he tried to get a quick spin in and end up hooking and having the offensive foul.
Lowe leaves his feet, finds Cummings standing on the wing. You had one BC player having to defend 2 guys, and he went the wrong way.
You got to make a decision now, and I think the small ball lineup with Capel is presenting some problems, and it'll be interesting to see what this presents in the ACC tournament.
How about that move by Joshua Beadle, the grad transfer from Clemson?
That's the negative of this lineup. There's no rim protection. Guillermo Diaz-Graham is 7 feet, but he's not a rim protector of the size. He's more comfortable being on the perimeter. And if he can start gaining some confidence and knocking down shots behind the 3-point line, then look out.
Delalich.
And he's a good passer, as you can see there. It'll force you to have to start switching with him. And that's not something you want to do with BC with Vennings. You want to keep him in the paint.
Fred Payne passes back across to the left wing for Beadle. Again, one and done for Boston College. Delalich dribbles up himself. Uses the screen.
Yeah, Beadle shoots a great percentage, but not known for his ability to shoot. He's more of a pass-first point guard and shoots 50% from 3. But it's more about his shot selection than his actual shot.
Delalich, and then looks right at his teammate and says, "Thank you for the setup."
The guards on the floor, starting Brandin, Cummings, and Lowe and Leggett. And it's just spread at the floor. With shooting and spacing, the lanes open up, they're driving, they're kicking. If they can get stops and rebound with this lineup, look out come the ACC tournament, because they're putting a lot of pressure on you in the defensive end of the floor.
Well, they've got 10 made buckets, 8 assists, and 5 of them have been from Jaland Lowe. And you're right. You know, we only have to look back to last year. Matchups get hot at the right time. If you're North Carolina State, did you go into the ACC tournament as Delalich scores 2 more? Did you anticipate you could do that? Why not Pittsburgh this year?
Well, this is going to be the first time you're going to see this because they haven't done it all year. And you see that play there. They have wings that can play with Delalich at his size, and Zach Austin being able to come in as well.
Brown hits the triple, first made 3 here tonight for BC.
Could you look at the way they're playing now? Diaz-Graham at the 5, you're going to put a guy on him, and he's playing behind the 3-point line. So your big has to defend on the perimeter, and if he gets to knocking down shots as a stretch 5, and as you can see now, look at BC's defense. It forces you to switch now.
Off the Delalich miss. Beadle lost the dribble. Delalich comes up with it. Here comes Pittsburgh with numbers if they hurry. Well, if you're 7-1, you cover a lot of ground without putting the ball on the deck.
There's a guy in Milwaukee that agree with that. We know who that is, and I don't even want to say his name because I will not make that comparison. But catching it on a run and taking 2 steps from the 3-point line, this Greek freak like.
Guillermo Diaz-Graham, first 2 points come by covering about 20 feet with 2 strides. Wow.
He didn't even need to take a dribble.
And initially, I thought if you're Delalich, don't give him the basketball here. But if he doesn't have to put it on the floor, who cares?
Just a layup.
Handled it very well.
Yes, he did. Caught it at the 3-point line, 2 steps, layups at the rim. Pitt's off to a blistering start here offensively. They started out sluggish, but they've had their way. If you can't take advantage of the lineup and punish them inside, Jeff Capel may have stumbled upon something here late. Both of these coaches are struggling and trying to find answers. They've changed the lineup. They're looking for a spark. And Jeff Capel just may have found his.
Well, Pitt's been one of the better free throw shooting teams in the ACC all year long. They are perfect so far tonight. That is 7 out of 7. And the Panthers lead is 19.
Well,
don't forget, again, Pittsburgh was ranked in the top 20. Great action from Kelly to Venning to Strong for the layup. But don't lose sight of the fact that 2 months ago, Pittsburgh was in the top 20. They were viewed as a can't miss, going to make the NCAA tournament. So the ingredients have to be there, right?
Yes. But the injuries now, I mean, the Damian Dunn being in and out of the lineup and him being that versatile guard, because this would have had, we talked about Ishmael Leggett and what he brought. Cummings was coming off the bench. And the option of having a big wing like Damian Dunn just offered so much and made the game easier for guys like Corhen.
4 to shoot because that initial shot missed the iron. Ishmael Leggett undaunted. He's got double figures now. 39-17 Pittsburgh.
You see it all the time on senior day. Ishmael Leggett is always aggressive. You better believe he's going to be ultra aggressive here on senior night.
And Zach Austin and former walk-on Vason Stevenson with the 3 honored before tip-off here tonight at the Pitt. Lowe comes up with the basketball. He's got Kelly to beat. There's your Houston on Houston point guard matchup. And Lowe will be at the free throw line.
Unfortunately, he has to like what he sees right now from this group. They have been lights out offensive.
Well, that may be Jaland Lowe's first point of the night, but he has impacted this game positively in many ways for Pittsburgh. He gets a couple at the free throw line. 41-17, and now Lowe will take a seat. Delilich returns.
Doug, you've heard me say this before. He's at the top of the scouting report.
Yeah.
That's who you're scheming against. He doesn't force anything. He really is a pass for his first guy, even though he scores a ton for this Pitt Panther team. His biggest job is getting everybody else going. He's done that exceptionally well here tonight.
Foul against Corhen. Yeah, the list for Lowe and what he has achieved. Got a lot of nice names he's rubbing elbows with. How about the last ACC player to average 16 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists? 2022 ACC Player of the Year, Alondas Williams. Good company.
Where did he go to school?
I don't remember. I don't recall. He was a deke.
I got to poke at you a little bit.
He was a deke. He was a really good deke.
He was. He was a Player of the Year candidate and a Player of the Year. Not a candidate. He wanted it.
Did you vote for him for Most Improved Player? He's pretty improved.
He was. You talking about Alondas?
Yeah, Alondas.
Oh, yes, I did.
Yeah, not Jaland.
Yeah.
I'm going back
I
to
voted
your
for him
alma
for Player of the Year that year.
Of course you did. Here's Deion Brown at the line out of Monument Mountain High School. Growing up in western Massachusetts in the Berkshire Mountains, he said, Boston College was my dream school. He started at UMBC, was really, really good at that level. Last year, first team All-America East Conference, averaged nearly 20 points per game. And Earl Grant and his coaching staff really thought Deion Brown was going to be able to bring a lot more scoring punch this year than he has. As the conversation continues between Coach Capel and Mike Kitts.
Capel's saying, hey, you shouldn't have free throws. That ball should have been on the baseline out of bounds.
There's the 8 points for Brown to lead the Eagles. And the Diaz-Graham twin brothers are out there together. Leggett gets it back to Cummings. 10 on the shot clock. Jorge Diaz-Graham tries to set a screen. Instead, Cummings is going to go one-on-one with the switch. Little step back mid-range. Out of bounds with under 3 minutes to go in the half.
That's a vital possession because you're talking about two guys that don't play a ton. You got the switch with Cummings. He doesn't need to settle and take the jump shot. But that's where the Diaz-Graham twins can start winning matchups. You have a guard on him, crash the offensive glass, and get that rebound. That's what you got to win. If they want to play with this lineup and be effective in the ACC tournament, the guard isn't always going to win that matchup, but the big has to win on the offensive rebound.
Guillermo Diaz-Graham called for the foul, trying to defend the paint. And the 7-foot junior from the Canary Islands with his first You know, there are 10 sets of twins currently teammates playing in Division I college basketball. And we are looking at the Diaz-Graham twins now in their 3rd year together at the University of Pittsburgh. And you have to say in Pittsburgh history, they've had a lot of brother combinations, but hard to beat the King brothers, led by Billy back in the day. Whistle and a foul. Yeah, it's going to go against the Eagles. That is Jaden Hastings. Now the Capel brothers did not team up, and they did just the exact opposite.
Yes.
One went to Duke, one went to Carolina.
Yes. Went to the biggest rivalry school. You can imagine. They went to the biggest rivalry in the sport.
And both were really good players in their
They were.
respective shades of blue, and I would imagine there might be a comment or two around tonight's game in Chapel Hill between the Capel brothers. That is scheduled to be just underway on ESPN. So Carolina has seemed to right its ship. Do you think they are a viable candidate to do some damage in Charlotte and get themselves into the NCAA tournament field of 68?
Well, they get a chance to do it tonight. And they're playing their best basketball. Going to the bigger lineup allows them to be more diverse, more importantly, defensively be a little better, giving them a little length. And they're making shots right now. And they're going to need to against Duke, who I think is elite defensively, not just good. I think they're one of the best defensive teams that we've seen in a really long time. And I mean years of college basketball.
Yeah. And it's not just one or two guys. It seems like the entire rotation is elite.
I think they put minimum whoever they have on the floor. They have three best defenders on the floor. And at times they can put a group of 5 out there where I think the 5 guys they put out there can be the best 5 defenders on the floor, with Proctor as a guard and Cooper Flagg. We talked about a ton, but Sion James as a guard is a really good defender. You throw in Malik Brown, Malawach. I mean, these guys can just switch and just make them be so disruptive. Cut off the water, so to speak, in your offense.
So even if Carolina beats Duke tonight, you know, since they are the first team out, according to Joe Lunardi right now, does that automatically put them in the tournament regardless of what happens in the ACC tournament? That's only going to be their second.
Yeah, it puts them in, but they're not so far in that they can't play themselves out. They're still going to have to play well in the ACC tournament.
Yeah. Another BC turnover leads to another run out and a foul against Brown. Pittsburgh has had its way so far tonight with a Boston College team that's just playing out the string.
They've been impressive on the offensive end of the floor with the smaller lineup. But the surprise is how effective they are and disruptive they are on the defensive end of the floor. Corhen hasn't played a lot. He hasn't been consistent in the minutes. Opportunities presented to him, and he's been really active here.
And they remain perfect at the free throw line as a team. Pittsburgh is now 14 for 14. Chaz Kelly, 0 for BC back in. And Deion Brown, who scored the basketball well so far for the Eagles, takes a seat.
Not the start you were looking for BC. They haven't gotten anything working. But the most disappointing thing is defensively, this has been a very effective in their effort defending. When they've wanted to defend, they've defended really well. And been so flat on that end of the floor. I know they probably wasn't expecting this lineup change. We've seen with Capel where they're spacing you out with 4 shooters on the floor and playing Cam Corhen and Guillermo Diaz-Graham at the 5 is just so unique and different that you hadn't seen it all year long. And it's giving BC Eagles fits right now. And something a lot of teams are going to be watching this tape to understand what that does to them defensively in the ACC tournament.
Donald Hand's first point comes over 18 minutes into the game. He is averaging about 16 per for BC. And again, he may wind up being named on Monday the conference's most improved player, but we've not seen it so far here tonight. Gets 1 out of 2 from the line. Yes, Field goal percentage overall for the season, not great, but there are reasons why somebody may not shoot as well as they would like.
Yes, he's the head of the snake. He's the guy at the top of the scouting report when you're playing BC. He's the guy you know you got to stop. So he's going to draw a ton of attention. And he's forced to take shots like that. He's a guy, because BC struggles to score offensively, he's a guy that just like, look, you see the basket, you got to get him up. And he takes difficult shot, but he's a difficult shot maker.
He's had a lot of big moments.
Yes.
This year, 31 against Florida State in that crazy game that Chaz Kelly won on a late jump shot. Under a minute to go in the half. Leggett has cooled off a bit. The Diaz-Graham brothers, bigger than everybody else out there. That's Jorge with the putback. He's got 5 points off the bench.
Jorge's been really effective there, crashing the offensive glass, giving Coach Capel really good minutes.
A little bit out of control. Ball trickles out of bounds off the left hand of Chad Venning. And so the Panthers get it back. They can hold for a final shot.
Doug, that defensive possession will be on the tape tomorrow for Coach Capel. I mean, that's ideal of what this lineup will have to do going forward. They double the post, and then full rotation over. Everyone is communicating. They're doing their job. They close out. Didn't secure the rebound. It'll be the one way they have to finish, but unfortunately for them, it was off Jennings. It's an outstanding defense possession there for the Panthers.
The Zoo making some noise on this final possession. Lowe, the pass deflected. Leggett had it knocked away. 2 seconds. 1 second. Got a good look, but Guillermo Diaz-Graham left a little bit short. However, followed the path they would have hoped. At 12 and 18 overall, only 4 and 15 in league play. Can BC come out and put forth a good performance to close out their year? On their first possession, a missed 3 from the corner by Elijah Strong. And Pittsburgh will walk it up with Jaland Lowe, the sophomore from Missouri City, Texas. He had a good first half, although he didn't score the ball a lot. No made field goals, but he was the guy kind of serving as the maestro.
Yeah, he was. And again, it's been the defensive end of the floor with this group. That's another great defensive possession there. Fighting for the defensive rebound, and then the offensive end of the floor, an open shot. And nearly a highlight there by Zach Austin trying to follow up.
And then with him late getting back up off the floor and down, BC does a nice job to identify the big inside Jaden Hastings, who was fouled. He was thinking Sports Center.
Yeah, he was. He tried to go get one with the left hand. Great job by BC identifying that he's on the ground. We got numbers, pushing the ball. Drawing a foul here.
Well, he spent 3 years at High Point University, including a red shirt, at 6'7", 210. The senior playing his final collegiate game. Here he is defending on the wing against Donald Hand. Lob inside, nicely delivered. And Elijah Strong lays it in.
That's what switching you have to do. You have to have the ability to do that to punish your small ball lineup. And they didn't do a lot of that early. Those were turnovers and deflections. And spiraling under this group as they go back zone. There's enough time here to try to claw back in and try your zone, but no rim protection there.
Straight line drive, easy too for the freshman from Midland, Pennsylvania. Brandin Cummings now with 11.
Again, every game he started, he's played really well. He has rewarded Coach Capel and whatever's been asked of him when he's been injected into the starting lineup.
Strong trying for another triple. He's got it. Young man who's been in and out of the starting lineup this year for Earl Grant with a couple of field goals, 50-24. Now you see what he did on Wednesday in the loss to number 11 Clemson. The sophomore from Charlotte has 7 points.
Gives you the versatility of being an inside-outside scorer, shooting over 36% from behind the three-point line, and the ability to post up smaller guards when you switch them.
Corhen over his left shoulder. He's having himself a good offensive night. 12 points for the 6'10 junior.
He's been really good for this Pitt Panther group. Just knowing his role, he's adjusting to a different role now. They're relying upon him to be a double-figure scorer for this group, and that was not his role at Florida State a year ago.
And remember, he was hampered by a broken toe last year in his second year in Tallahassee. Here he is again working in the lane. This time over his right shoulder, missed it with the left hand, but he has been very efficient in close so far tonight.
He flashes inside there, and he just hurts you when he does that. But that's what BC has to do more of. You run that early ball screen, you identify the switch. Great high-low action there by the redshirt freshman Hastings and throwing it over the top strong.
Around and out for Austin. Fight for the ball comes to Cummings. It was Corhen who got a hand on it to keep this possession alive for Pitt.
There's been a couple of possessions like this for Pitt Panthers where they've been fighting to rebound the basketball better. They were +6 in the half.
Very smooth from Brandin Cummings. Remember, he went for 30 against Eastern Kentucky back in December. He can fill it up.
Absolutely he can. And following the footsteps of his big brother.
Who's in the building again. Nelly, who played his 5th and final year of college after transferring from Colgate to here at Pittsburgh, has been along for the ride. The whole Cummings family has enjoyed this season together.
You take your lumps when you're the younger brother. You know, there's some.
I get that.
He was the short end of the stick when you're younger growing up, so you know there's a level of toughness to you. Dad isn't taking it easy on any of them. Started with Dad and it's trickled down to his brothers. He has been, I think, a really good freshman year for the Pitt Panthers and has a bright future here as a basketball player.
And parents Renell and Brandy. Brandin to them is Biba.
Biba, yep.
Nobody calls him Brandin. Boy, Hand has missed 3 free throws. And again, considering he is at 87% on the year coming in, you would never expect that.
Zach Austin's leaving the game, picked up his 4th foul. He argued that he didn't think he committed the foul.
So he gets a technical foul and takes a seat. We'll talk to him not long before tip-off about senior night for him and his college basketball journey. And it's not the same necessarily as what we were accustomed to before this transfer portal era. He's been at 2 schools, but still, he's had a really, really good college career.
He has.
Lost his mom back in 2017 to heart failure. She wasn't able to be here, but he was thrilled to talk about that his grandmother's here and his auntie is here. He's got a couple of his siblings here and a niece. And you went through this after your time at Wake Forest. You had a senior day moment. Did you find it hard to focus on what you needed to focus on that night?
Yes, you do. You struggle with that a little. But it's a little different because for me, we were wrapped up into trying to, it meant a lot. We were playing for something still. We were playing for the #1 seed in the ACC tournament. And so you still have something to play for. So it's always interesting when you have these moments and you don't know about your postseason play. We were playing for seeding, as nowadays BC is out. They're not in it. And pitch jumbled up in there. You're trying to get a first round bye if possible. And so they're actually still playing for something.
Corhen lost it on the way up. And then a foul is called. First media time out of the second half. So we're stepping.
And they can ill afford to have off nights.
Well, he was 5th as Corhen misses the free throw. Lowe is 5th in the league coming in assists per game. Nate George at Georgia Tech 1, Elliott Cadeau 2 for Carolina. Chucky Hepburn, who had a 16 assist game at SMU, is 3rd in the league. Then Boopie Miller, and then Lowe's. Pretty good point guard play in the ACC again this year.
It is. It's a high level creativity with the league guards.
And we welcome you to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, here at the Peterson Event Center in what has been a one-sided affair almost from the start. Pittsburgh 54. Boston College trying to make a push here in the second half, but only 32 points. With Randolph Childress, I'm Doug Sherman. Can Boston College make a push here in their regular season finale that will mark the final game of their year?
Well, they're winning the second half. They've come out of the locker room playing well, but they're facing this Pitt Panther offense that we talked about. That they've started a 4-guard lineup, and it's creating spacing opportunities. It's opened up the paint. It's opened up shots from the rim as Jaland Lowe takes a shot here.
As Dion Brown dunks it, we have a stoppage. As Jaland Lowe, who has been really good, especially setting up his teammates with his 6 assists, continues to try to gather himself. 7th-year head coach Jeff Capel III questioning no foul call. My guy's hurt. Something happened. And we'll try to find it on replay to see what occurred. Pittsburgh's 3-guard offense has been really good tonight.
I think he took a shot to the midsection there, and that elbow right there is what screened by Hastings. He took a shot. Thought he was getting out of the way, and looks like he knocked the wind out of him.
Let's hope that's all it is.
Yeah, he seems to be getting up, walking around.
Well, Lowe has not scored it much. He's got 4 made free throws, no field goals, but Leggett with 11, Cam Corhen with 12, and then Brandin Cummings in the starting lineup with 16 points to lead all scorers. Randolph, you think that is something that Pitt needs to tap into?
Yes.
Going forward into the ACC tournament.
It's a different look, and it gives them 3 guys that can initiate their offense. Before you concentrated so much on Ishmael Leggett and Jaland Lowe, and then now you put Cummings in, and he's shown as a starter.
We have a flagrant foul on red 22. 2 shots in the ball.
So Jaden Hastings gets called for the flagrant.
Yeah, he threw his right elbow there, and he extended it outside of his arm, so it would have been an illegal screen. And obviously, you can tell Jaland Lowe wasn't expecting it. But this lineup is for, I don't think Pitt could win a game without Jaland Lowe scoring and trying to be effective. But now the floor spacing, he's naturally been a guy that's gotten in the paint whenever he wanted, but he doesn't have to force shots and finish. He's spraying it out. Everyone else is benefiting. They're knocking down shots, and it'll be fun to watch this offense in the ACC tournament.
And so the godson of 1976 #1 overall draft pick John Lucas, the All-American out of Maryland, at the free throw line. Again, Pittsburgh was ranked nationally in the top 20 back in early January, but since that time they have endured 3 different 4-game losing streaks, including the one they have at the moment, trying to break going into the postseason. But it looked like 2 months ago Jeff Capel and his team were sitting on an easy NCAA tournament berth. Can they get back to the level of play that they had back in November and December?
We'll find out. They're searching for answers, and with Dunn being out, we know he's done for the year. Both of these coaches came into this game not knowing what they were going to get from their group. I think Capel has to be happy with what he sees, and this is what happens. Cummings gets the ball. He gets to initiate offense. He doesn't wear low down of having to come back and get it. And what Guillermo Diaz-Graham at the 5, now look what he does for spacing for everyone. You have to switch with him. And now you get the matchups you want with these guards against your frontline guys.
Well short on the deep 3. Here comes Boston College down by 25. Chaz Kelly III. Tough shot. Cummings stood his ground. And we have not mentioned, since we were joined by all of you on the network, Zach Austin, another one of the Pitt Panthers celebrating senior night. He has yet to score, and he's on the bench with 4 fouls. Hastings with the layup off the feed from Hand.
Now that's the fear with this lineup, is with Guillermo Diaz-Graham as your center. Physically, there's not much resistance on the interior. And can he rebound enough? The officials are, as we just talked about, you're a physical specimen.
Come on, man. Pittsburgh breaks the pressure. Cummings, Leggett, and Lowe, the 3-guard attack out there with Delilich and Guillermo Diaz-Graham. This is Guillermo, now has that left knee with an extra wrap on it after having a bloody knee. On the back cut, pass from Delilich, a little too far out in front. It's a turnover back to Boston College.
BC has come out in this second half, and their energy is picked up. More importantly, it's picked up on the defensive end of the floor. And they're winning this second half. There's a lot of time left. Can you chip away? You've dug yourself a massive hole in the first half, but they've come out this second half, and they're attacking the paint. They're taking advantage of the switches.
Trailed by as many as 29 points, but BC has made 6 of its last 7 shots, but a bad turnover there. Lowe tries to go Euro step and lost his footing. And the officials confer to say indeed it was just a travel, no foul.
Gotta make sure Lowe's okay. He's grimacing a little bit there.
Well, he came into this game 12 points shy of 500 for his season. He's at 5 and counting, among the league leaders in points, assists, steals, and free throw shooting. Somehow that pass got through to Strong, who lays it in.
That's the matchup I thought, and how I thought BC would play when this game started. And Strong has an advantage inside at the 4 spot, and Chad Venning is the best low post scorer in this game on either side.
Yeah, Venning back in the lineup after missing their last game with a recurring foot issue.
It's a great find there. He catches it, fakes the spin baseline, and hits a cut in Elijah Strong. That's the advantage that they have. Is there enough time for them to come back in this game and figure it out? But they've been getting stops here on the defensive end of the floor.
Low no. Offensive rebound, Guillermo Diaz-Graham. Delilich thought about it. He's been aggressive shooting basketball tonight. Lowe always trying to get back to that left hand. He does, and has his first made bucket of the night.
More importantly, he just continues to gets in the paint. He's getting in the paint, finding teammates, and he's done that all night long.
Kelly attacks. Pass to the corner for Dion Brown.
You want to see Pitt Panthers with this lineup play with pace and purpose. Just continue to push the ball, let the ball move, move your body in the ball. You got the matchups like this you want.
Lowe starting to heat up. Give him 11. That's 499 on the year.
And that's what this lineup is doing. It's dictating what you're going to do defensively for your coverage. You got to commit to how you want to guard these ball screens with Guillermo Diaz-Graham at the 5.
From the short corner. Nice looking stroke from Donald Hand Jr. Part of the only father-son combination in conference history to win ACC Player of the Week. His father, of course, very good player at the University of Virginia back in the day.
Yes.
Did you guys overlap? Was he a league rival of yours?
I left out, he came in.
Leggett buries another 3. Pittsburgh has
Justin Champagny, but it shows you the development that these coaches have in themselves and their staff, what they're able to do with players given it time.
Of course, for Boston College, Reggie Jackson still going strong. Coming off the bench for the Sixers these days in his 14th season in the NBA. As Chad Venning lays it in. And Pittsburgh's got a couple of veterans in the NBA. Steven Adams goes way back. He was a one and done at Pittsburgh back in the day. And then Cam Johnson played 3 years here at Pittsburgh. He is a Pittsburgh graduate, but played his 2 final years at UNC, so he doesn't make all the list, but he's a former Panther also in the NBA. So 4 former Pitt players in the NBA currently and 2 former Eagles.
So does Pitt claim him or will Carolina claim him?
Carolina definitely claims him, and oftentimes when a player leaves a school in this day and age, the school that loses them often doesn't add them to their list, which I think is strange. I think why not, especially with the way players move around now. All Big East freshman team, but it was not, you're right, an overwhelming season where you'd say, oh my gosh, of course he's a one and done.
He obviously made the right decision.
He did.
Great NBA career.
And you know what? This game, we talk about these 2 old Big East rivals. This game is a rematch of the 2001 Big East Tournament Championship game. Won by BC 79-57. At that time, the Eagles were ranked 9th in the country. Seems like 2 lifetimes ago.
It does.
This is the 20th season for BC in the ACC. A wedgie on the block shot. Corhen denied from behind by Chad Venning. And the possession arrow will keep the ball down at this end. 20 years in the ACC for BC.
It's a great job there by Venning. He's late on a play. No help on the back screen and just meets him at the rim.
Nothing will deny Corhen on that one. A nice look from Jorge Diaz-Graham.
If you're Venning, you got to know if you're guarding Cam Corhen on the perimeter. It's not an effective scorer there. And
Taves puts it into the post.
Trying to spin back to that baseline side.
There he goes, over Corhen for 2.
Does a great job of taking your middle. He makes you honor it. But he wants to get back to that left shoulder.
Lowe lobs it to the rim. Cam Corhen, whose father used to back up Dominique Wilkins with the Georgia Bulldogs, having himself a big offensive night.
He is, and now with the spacing that they have, it frees him up inside. And when they're running that middle ball screen, and he gets to catch it on the short roll or the lob.
A foul on the drive. They might have gotten Leggett rather.
That middle ball screen on a single side, you got to tag, but they're running a shooter up. You see Ishmael Leggett coming from behind, and Chaz Kelly unable to tag the shooter. Sorry, Fred Payne didn't tag the shooter that time. The rim roller, and easy lob there. And you've got to do that. We talked about Lowe, his ability to score. But the best thing he does is create for this team. Got to keep the ball out of the paint with him, and got to corral him on ball screens. His vision and him turning the corner is just too good.
We see Zach Austin coming back onto the floor. He is scoreless with 4 fouls, including a technical. And now he's got 8:46 remaining in his Pittsburgh career here at home. This is senior day for him. He was recognized before the game, and I'm sure he'd like to have a little better taste in his mouth over the last 8 minutes than the previous part. And he's about the only Pitt Panther who has not been involved in this impressive performance.
Well, he and Lowe are not needed on the offensive end of the floor. Zach Austin does have 6 rebounds. He picked up a couple early offensive rebounds, and his impact is what we talked about, is on the defensive end of the floor.
Lowe's going to be called for the foul, coming around the backside of Elijah Strong, giving up a lot of size there.
And Lowe, you want to try to get around in front. There's something they're going to talk about as they go in the ACC tournament with this smaller lineup, but a little bit more length on the floor right now with both of the Diaz-Graham twins on the floor and Zach Austin back to playing a wings position and not the 4.
Taves gets it in. Showed nice patience along the baseline for things to open up, and just like that, Chad Venning has the easy layup. Low down the lane, finger roll, and he gets the roll. And that gives him 501 points this year. He joins Brandin Knight and Vonteego Cummings as the only Pitt Panthers with a season of 500 points and 150 assists.
Wow, it's a great list to be on. But his ability to get to that paint, his straight line speed, it's impressive.
Strong commits the foul, and that'll take up to Young, and so they are part of what is a wonderful effort. Everybody on the floor today wearing special T-shirts, and again, we want to help raise awareness and hopefully raise some money for research to fight ALS.
The impact that he's had on his sons and the game itself, he's given their dad gave so many people opportunities, and one very close to me, and Kevin Sutton, who's coached Jason Capel in high school, where he was a high school All-American. He was my high school assistant coach, and Jason and Jeff are the godfather of his son, and watch these guys grow up as players in high school, and competed against Jeff in college when he was at Duke and I was at Wake Forest, and just an outstanding family and great coaches, great teachers of the game of basketball and life.
And among the other members on the committee for Hoops for ALS, our former ESPN colleague Kate Fagan, who lost her father Chris Fagan to ALS. Chris was a terrific player back in the 1970s at Colgate University and played overseas, and so she is part of the effort. Chris is a former player on courts that I shared with him. I was happy to play many, many years with Chris Fagan. A wonderful man taken far too soon because of ALS. I'm just glad he took it easy on me, because Chris could have buried me every single time. Too nice a guy. Donald Hand with the three-pointer. Boston College certainly has shot it better here in the second half.
This is what we're talking about, but now this lineup presents the problem, and now Guillermo Diaz-Graham doesn't have to take those threes. It opens up the floor, and he's driving the basketball. And Pitt may call off the Dogs, but they're on pace to score near 100 points. And again, they've been very successful when they want the game in the 80s. And this small ball lineup, if they can rebound in it, and they've been able to do so here tonight, they're going to be a tough out in the ACC tournament.
As you see, Pittsburgh only 7-12 in conference play. They've lost their last 4. But we don't have to look far in the ACC history book to see an example of a team coming from nowhere to do a lot of damage in the ACC tournament. North Carolina State got on a roll. As a matter of fact, North Carolina State lost to Pittsburgh in last year's regular season finale before going and rattling off one of the great runs in conference history.
And that NC State team looked lost a year ago, and it's amazing what a win to do to your confidence.
Well, BC shooting 70% in the second half. Great look from Taves inside to Elijah Strong.
It's hard to keep your foot on the gas here when you're up and you're controlling this game, but your Pitt Panthers, you'd like to continue to play well here and finish this half.
Zach Austin looks to the skies, no question thinking about his late mother, getting his first made bucket on senior night. He wished so much that his mom would be able to be here, but unfortunately heart disease took her. But in the pregame ceremony, he had his grandmother here, had his auntie here. It's been a rough night for him considering the foul trouble, but so glad for him he was able to bury that three.
His brother and sister Santana and Charles here as well, and I know he wanted to play better, but I think he's happy with the win.
Twin brother to twin brother. Nicely done. Guillermo from Corhen.
That's big, because again, if they can punish the switch, because that's what you're going to have to do when they're in ball screens, finish inside and win that battle. Again, that'll help this Panther team come ACC tournament play.
Austin with the takeaway. Under 4.5 minutes remaining in regulation.
Lowe has been having his way again. They're going to run that ball screen and force Elijah Strong to guard in the ball screen. They've elected to switch, and now he's got to try to keep him out of the paint.
Corhen Diaz-Graham. He makes more than half his threes, and you can see he's got a really nice stroke.
You'd like to see him and Guillermo Diaz-Graham shoot more of those, because no one's going to, watch blocks. No one's going to alter their shot.
Austin going to try again, this time able to lay it off the glass.
Zach Austin tried to make a poster the previous possession, but was able to corral that out of this young man and everything that he's accomplished in his career. And graduated from college, and I think he'll make a lot of money playing this game of basketball. More importantly, because he knows what he is, and he's really elite, versatile defender. Got my vote for ACC Defensive Player of the Year because of that versatility he shows on the defensive end, and shot 38% on the year from behind the three-point line, and knocked down his first one here tonight, and that's because of foul trouble.
You know, Randolph, we talked about it in the first half, and I know a lot of our audience wasn't with us, but there have only been a handful of players in conference history to make 53s and block 50 shots in the same season. He's done it multiple times, and the only other 4 guys who've done it in the history of the ACC, along with Zach Austin, have either played in the NBA for a long time or are in the NBA right now. So again, he profiles as a player with his athletic ability to join this list. He's already on the list, but can he join those guys in the NBA?
He fits more in that. He doesn't shoot it as well as a Danny Green does naturally, but that's kind of his role, knowing that, hey, my job is to space the floor and knock down open threes. But where he's exceptional is just his ability. He's a little bigger than Danny Green. His ability to guard multiple defenders is, at that size, is what everybody at that next level will be looking for him.
And here's another one for you, Randolph. The last guy at Pittsburgh to lead his team in both made threes and block shots in the season. Mo Gee also made it to the NBA. It's been a rough shooting night for Donald Hand.
Yeah, he has struggled to knock down shots here. But it's been a much more competitive second half from the Eagles.
Pitt turns it over. Deion Brown bounce pass to Payne. And if it's on Zach Austin, that would be his 5th. And Jorge Diaz-Graham, I love what he just did. He realized that he doesn't want it on Austin, so he reached for his teammate Amsal Delilich and raised his hand for him to say, no, the foul's on you.
Yeah, take the foul. That's what you experienced veteran guys supposed to do to a freshman. The freshman doesn't want to get yelled at. He's like, Coach, I didn't foul him.
Just take it.
Jorge says, no, you fouled him. Put your hand up, because Zach fouls out if he doesn't do this. So great job by Jorge. He's like, wait, put your hand up. He did it.
Amsal was like, huh?
yeah, whatever you said. What a game. He's come off the bench, hadn't played a ton, but he's played really well tonight. Knocked down a couple of shots and running the floor and been really active.
Amdi Njai just into the game for the first time tonight for Pittsburgh. Lost track of the defender behind him who knocked it away. Also Papa Amadou Kanti getting his first opportunity with 2.5 minutes to go. We've got a 30-second timeout. Back to the Pete right after this. Let's take a look at our star stories for players who have been crushing it. Brought to you by Crush. Great balance offensively for the Pitt Panthers here tonight.
They have. I mean, offensively, they've been really impressive. And if you didn't see their starting lineup, they've changed their starting lineup. And you're one of these coaches, you might have missed something for a scouting opportunity, but they went to that small ball lineup, and it was really impressive to see.
And it took them, 4 or 5 minutes to get it going. But once it got going, the offense was humming for most of that first half when they opened up a commanding 48-19 lead. Cam Corhen inside, and then those 3 or 4 perimeter guys also doing it.
And what's so impressive about it earlier was they were flying around defensively, coming up with loose balls. The issue was going to be, can they rebound with that lineup? If they play with pace, they're going to score points.
At the line, number 52, freshman Amsal Delilich, 6'8", 210 pounds. He's got a versatility to his game that I would think is very enticing for Pitt.
High IQ, the way he plays the game offensively. He makes shots. He can put it on the deck. Good passer. Just a really good offensively talented player. And as he physically matures, as we talked about it, he's a coach's son. He's going to be a rotational guy for sure as he moves forward in his career.
The cheers you hear is because Jeff Capel is emptying his bench. And so Marlon Barnes Jr., number 11, a redshirt freshman from Cleveland, comes in. Vason Stevenson, the third of the 3 outgoing seniors who are honored. And it's also a chance for Zach Austin to get a hug from his head coach and a nice round of applause. Ishmael Leggett also. We saw the 2 seniors getting well-deserved hugs after a really good performance tonight.
You won't find a better young man than Ishmael Leggett, and even Zach Austin for that matter. Just guys that you would want on your team, and Jeff Capel fittingly bring those guys out together. It's meant a lot over the last 2 years.
There you see Vason Stevenson just put on scholarship in January. Here he is, got to get a shot up, number 21. All right, going to the free throw line. He went to high school just 10 miles west of Pitt. And his father was a real good player back in the day here in the city of Pittsburgh at Duquesne. Pressure here, got to make these shots.
Well, he has 2 shots, so you don't care how you score as long as you score. This crowd will erupt for him. His teammates is cheering for him.
Will he smile if he makes it? Got to smile.
He has to.
Bingo.
Look at that pose with the follow through. That's like me hitting a good golf shot. You know, I just hang on to the follow through to let you know. Like that looks. I do this all the time. That's what he's telling me. His friends and teasing him.
Out of Montour High School from McKees Rock, PA, calmly with a couple of free throws. Hand. Well, that'll be 2 points, but Amdi Injai wanted to make sure he had a crooked number in his line score.
Hey.
Trying to get a block shot.
Putting your impact on the game. And as a coach, you don't have any issues with that when a guy goes up and challenges a shot at the rim. Goaltender not. No layups.
Played his high school ball at Long Island Lutheran and Putnam Science Academy as well in Connecticut. Barnes for 3. No, they say it's a 2. Nonetheless, the end of the Pittsburgh bench is contributing.
This is what I missed the most about the rules change that we're going to with walk-ons and everything else. We're going to lose opportunities at moments like this.
Yep.
That are so significant. They're so fun to be a part of. And guys at the end of the bench, walk-on guys just coming in, and look at what it does to the bench.
It's awesome.
This is what college athletics is all about, and wish we can find a way to continue to keep that in the game.
Marlon Barnes is just as much a part of this program as anybody else. Took a red shirt last year after picking Pittsburgh over Miami, Ohio, and Cleveland State. Knew that getting regular playing time, at least early in his college career, was going to take time, but he's putting in the time.
He is, and he looks the part when you watch him in practice. He's improving, and game is starting to slow down for him. And
somehow Payne able to tap that in.
Look at Delich here, just being able to be a point guard for you. Just shows you the versatility in his game. As I say that, he turns it over. It's been really effective just initiating offense for the Panthers.
We will get you up to the JMA Wireless Dome just as soon as we are done here. Syracuse and Virginia playing their regular season finale on this last day of the regular season. They are underway. Syracuse with the early lead over UVA 6-2. And oh, by the way, that other game, North Carolina is leading number 2 Duke 56-49 over on ESPN early in the second half. Tar Heels.
They have a chance. They're home. And that rivalry game, you can't expect anything. And it would not surprise me if Carolina can hold on. I mean, they're fighting for their NCAA tournament life. And then you have a rivalry game. There's a lot of emotion. Effort will not be the problem. That's a daunting task beating Duke. And that's a lot on the line. Duke loses the #1 seed in the tournament, in the ACC tournament, if they lose that game. Falling into a 3-way tie with Clemson and Louisville will get the #1 seed.
Wow.
That's just amazing when you think about what could happen if Duke's unable to come back and close out that Carolina game.
Hard foul will send Njai to the line. You'd never know Pittsburgh had lost its last 4. And what was it? You said 12 of their last
16. They've had multiple 4-game losing streaks.
Man. But again, trying to wash that all away with an impressive performance. They will fly to Charlotte tomorrow before opening up the ACC tournament. We don't know their opponent yet. There's still things to be sorted out.
Not just at the top of the league. We just discussed with Duke and Carolina and what that means. It's also at the bottom of the league as well.
First time Njai has been to the foul line this year. He helped Lehigh win the 2023 New York State Championship along with Baylor superstar VJ Edgecombe.
Go John Buck. Doing a great job there. Kyan Anthony. Soon to be incoming freshman for your Orange.
Where did Coach Buck go to college?
I just Wake Forest. He's a demon deacon. But I didn't say that. You did. See, I shot it.
I gave you 2 chances. You blew it off the first time.
I wasn't going to say it. But he's doing a great job of a talented group and just beat Oak Hill the other night.
Big time.
They did. He's a heck of a coach.
And I guess Carmelo was not conflicted at all watching his son beat his alma mater.
Absolutely not.
Chaz Kelly makes it 93-67. Shot clock is off.
There's no shot attempt here. You just want to dribble the clock out. And impressive performance here, and the season ends for Boston College. But really impressive game for the Pitt Panthers and what they're shown on the offensive and ability to rebound here with the small ball lineup as they come to the ACC play.
Well, the Boston College season comes to an end. Pittsburgh will play on, and they will head to that